everyone. Welcome to Whole Living Yoga. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Liz. So in today's practice, we're going to be focusing on boosting our immune system. So more so now than ever, we really want to be able to boost our immune system to help encourage health and well-being. We want to be able to activate and stimulate our lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is responsible for keeping us healthy. It is our first line of defense against bacteria, virus, and infection. So our lymphatic system is one that operates without a pump, so to speak. Unlike our digestive system, our respiratory system, and our circulation system, all of these have organs in which function as a pumping system. We have the heart, we have the stomach, we have the lungs. The lymphatic system, on the other hand, requires movement. It requires massage. So when we practice yoga, when we exercise the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system releases T cells, and those are those cells that will help us to stay healthy. So the lymphatic system is also not just one particular element. It's comprised of vessels, of lymphatic nodes, organs, and glands. And so today we're going to begin with a therapy of lymphatic massage. And then also we're going to move into the gland that's involved in this lymphatic system, which is the thymus gland, followed by 12 postures that we will assume and practice in that will help to move the lymph and get the lymphatic system working to help assist us in boosting our immune system. There are some other things that we can do as well to assist the immune system. Number one is hydration. So it's very important for us to stay hydrated, a minimum of 24 to 36 ounces of water per day. If you're consuming caffeinated products, you would need to increase that or almost double the intake of water to any caffeinated beverages that you're drinking. Sleep is critical, so it's very important for us to sleep from 6 to 8 hours a day so that our body can rest and restore itself. Also, finding a balanced nutrition plan. So having balanced vitamins and minerals, increasing your green leafy vegetables, unless you have any dietary restrictions that prohibit you from doing so. Also reducing stress, which is partly why we practice our yoga or any other form of exercise that will help you to reduce your stress. Meditating is a wonderful way to reduce stress, as well as breath work. So let us begin. I'm going to go ahead and come to a standing position, so I encourage you to come along and come into a standing position. So we're going to work on this idea of lymphatic massage. So first off, we're going to look at the body, and we're going to just take a moment to just assess particular areas of the body and almost separate the body. As I mentioned, the main components of the lymphatic system would be the lymphatic nodes, so the lymph nodes. And so those lymph nodes are clustered throughout the body, but in certain parts of the body, they are more clustered than others. And so those areas that are more densely populated by the nodes would be the neck area, the underarm area, the groin area. They do run through the central line of the system. There are also clustered behind the knees. So we're going to look at the body in sections. First off, we will be cutting ourselves, so to speak, in half, right here at the waistline. Then we're going to consider ourselves to have a large diamond here, right in the chest, okay? And so the idea is that we're going to massage the body in a way that we are going to assist in circulating energy and fluids in the body toward the cluster of nodes that we all have in our bodies. So if you're wearing glasses, I would encourage you to take your glasses off unless you absolutely then won't be able to see me as we go through the massage. We will start beginning at the face. So bringing your hands to the forehead, and as we go through this, I would say approximately 5 to 10 swipes or strokes as you do this. We will probably just go through 5 here on this video, but as you begin to take on this lymphatic massage as a daily practice for yourself, it can be done multiple times a day, especially if you find that you have a more sedentary lifestyle or you're doing a lot of sitting and you're not having the opportunity to exercise 30 to 60 minutes a day or even every other day. So we're going to begin, and we'll start right here at the center of the forehead. So you can take both hands, bring the fingertips to the forehead, and just begin to swipe. So again, thinking about the first set of nodes, which is located here at the neck. We're going to begin to swipe across and down. So just counting for 5 strokes using your fingertips, breathing in and out through your nose. So we've taken our 5 across the forehead, and then we'll begin to move down toward the cheeks. So taking from the sides of the face and circulating downward toward the neck. So just gentle, not too much pressure, circulating and drawing down fluid toward those nodes. Great. And then from here, we're going to begin to work from the back of the neck. So scooping out, think about a t-shirt and the scoop behind your t-shirt, spreading the fingers out, finding the base of your neck, and then coming forward. So bringing that massage forward for 5 sweeps. Breathing in and out through your nose. Great. All right, so from here, remember we have that diamond shape here, so we're not going to be sweeping in that diamond shape necessarily versus the nodes, and we'll get to that in a moment. We're going to begin with the arms now. So again, we want to work now toward this next set of nodes, which is in the armpit area. So we're going ahead and extend your left arm and begin to sweep up. So it's upward strokes, sweeping up. We're going to take a minimum of 5 strokes here, but as you start to practice this on your own time, you can do as many strokes as you wish. I may have done more than 5 here. Turning the palm and stroking the underside of the arm, working up toward the armpit. Great, and then we're going to work toward the shoulder. So bringing the hand up over the shoulder and sweeping down toward the armpit for 5 strokes. Great, we're going to move to the other side. So left hand, extend your right and just start to sweep up. Sweeping up, almost raking the skin, raking the body. Turning the arm and raking upwards toward the armpit. And remembering to come from the top of the shoulder and sweep forward. Now, of course, the back of the body is also essential to do. You might need a partner, a friend, a sibling, anyone else in your life to assist you here. And if that were the case, you would be coming from the center of your spine and coming toward the armpits, toward the back side of your body, okay? And then from mid-back, you're going to start to come up from the waist. So now we're going to move into the chest area. So as I mentioned earlier, we also have the thymus gland, which is also responsible for T cells, which helps us as fighting infection, fighting viruses, and fighting any bacteria that might be harmful to us. So thinking about this diamond shape here, the thymus gland lives right here behind the sternum. So in this case, this little diamond shape, we start to draw away from the thymus gland. So here in the center of the chest, we are opening up toward the lymph nodes of the underarms, but utilizing this as a means of also massaging the thymus gland, which lives right here under the sternum in the chest. So just taking 5 strokes and kind of using your fingers on both hands to rake open toward the armpits. So we'll go one more time here. Good. Now we're going to pause through the upper body and we're going to focus on the thymus gland itself. So there are 3 different ways that you can go ahead and stimulate the thymus gland. And the thymus gland not only will help you with your immune system, it'll also help to ground you, okay? So if you're feeling very stressed, if you're feeling anxious, it's also a great way to kind of hit a restart button, okay? So the first way to go ahead and tap your thymus gland would be to create a fist. And so what's interesting about this to me is that I think about Tarzan, I think about King Kong, right? So it builds strength as well in terms of mental and physical balance and strength. So making a fist here, creating a little fist with your knuckles, and then grabbing and bringing your knuckles right here into the sternum, between the throat and the center of your chest, and we're simply going to tap. So 15 to 30 taps, little thumping. So little thumping, utilizing the flat part of your hand, not so much the knuckles, little tapping. Breathing in and out through your nose. Nice, steady breaths. Moving a lot of energy as well. Great. So that's one method of tapping. Now, if that feels a little too harsh or a little too vibrational for you, you can always just use the fingertips here and tap with fingertips. You can also do this to a child that might be stressed or needs to be reset. So this is a very comforting thing as well. So you can use the fingertips. And now another method that you can use, so it's 3 different ways that you can stimulate the thymus gland, would be to act as though you had an itch here. So just gently scratching, again, not with fingernails, but fingertips. So just a gentle massage here. So it might be awesome to tap first and then do your swiping out toward the nodes that live under the armpits. So you can massage the chest area first, you can thump through the thymus gland, and then you can come back and do a few strokes here. All right, so now that we've taken care of the upper body, we're going ahead and moving to the lower body. So as I mentioned, the next set of nodes is primarily located in the groin area and behind your knees. So from this point for your legs, we're going to be swiping upwards, okay? So the upper body was swiping toward the armpits, down from the head, and in toward the armpits and heart. As for your abdominal region, we're also sweeping up, 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 okay? So bringing everything up. And then when we come to the waistband, we're going down to the lower body and we're still sweeping upward. So starting from the back of the legs, little bend in the knee, and of course you can do this seated as well. We're going to sweep up. Remember I mentioned there's a cluster behind the knees as well. Not quite as large as the groin, but they do exist behind the knees. Also all through the center of the torso, which when we move into our postures, you'll get that understanding. We'll be doing some twisting, coming to the front of the body, sweeping up and almost around toward the backs of the knees. So maybe taking your legs and from the center of your shin, sort of splitting it off. Great, and then you start moving up. So backs of thighs start to sweep forward toward the lymph nodes, toward the groin area. Not forgetting through the glutes, under the waist, coming forward, and then your inner thighs moving up. Breathing in and out. Great. So that in itself is the lymphatic massage. So you can do that for yourself anytime several times a day. And as I mentioned, especially if you find that you're not exercising as frequently as you would like, so that will help move things. So now moving into the practice itself, you might want to grab 2 blocks and a blanket. We'll be exploring 12 different poses that will help assist to move the lymphatic fluids. Now, keeping in mind that it runs throughout the whole system, we are focusing on neck, underarms, groin, so the postures will involve all of these areas, as well as we have nodes that run through the abdomen. So there will be some twisting postures as well. And as we're moving through the postures, it requires compression of those certain areas and also extension of those areas. So if you can imagine compressing and extending, you're almost creating a pump-like manner for our body to be moving, assisting in those lymphatic fluids moving throughout the body. So the first posture we're going to take is a forward fold. So if you'd like to modify, you can go ahead and bring your blocks out in front of you. We're going to stand either facing the long edge of your mat or the short edge of your mat, and bringing your feet to a hip distance here. So we're going to practice in our forward fold. We'll take a breath in. Let's take a nice inhale, bring it all the way up. Take your gaze up. And as you exhale, keeping arms extended back, remember thinking about the heart, feel that extension in the underarms, the front of the arms, slowly start to fold down, letting your abdomen rest onto the thighs, dropping your head down, maybe your hands come to the block. Now take a moment to shift your weight a bit forward so that your heels are light here. And now just take a moment to notice where the compression is now. It's in that area of the lymph nodes that are surrounded in the groin area. So we're going to take 5 breaths in each one of these postures. You can take as many as 10, but for the sake of this video and time, we're going to take 5 breaths in each posture. So here as well, if you can pedal throughout the backs of the legs here, finding a little length in your hamstrings while you're here, that's a great way to get the stretch in the back of the leg. Keep yourself moving. If you're flexible enough and can find the length in your legs and allow for the head to come down, maybe you'll find that you can even let go of your blocks and bring the hands down to the earth. Let your head go and focus on 5 nice breaths here. And draw the navel up, really allow for the head to come down toward the ground. Good, and we're going to take one more breath to complete our 5. And then we'll begin to come to a flat back. You can bring both hands back onto the block, and then we're going to slowly come down onto our knees. So we're going to come down onto our knees. You can take some space between your blocks here. We're going to go right into a lunge from here. So let's begin to take our right foot and bring it on forward. So we're going to come into a high lunge. You can walk those blocks back. Actually, it's a low lunge, not a high lunge, but you can transition into a high lunge if you'd like. So depending on your level of experience with the practice, you can go a little more deeply here. The main thing that we want to be focusing on is the twisting action, which again will help to kind of pump the lymphatic system. All right, so here we are in our low lunge. We're going to take a nice inhale again, use your breath, bring it on in. As we exhale, let's bring our hands to the heart. We're going to take a breath here and find a little lean forward. Then you'll take another breath in, and as we exhale, attempt to bring that left elbow outside of the thigh, pressing your hands together, taking that right elbow toward the sky, and begin to take your gaze up toward the sky. And again, once you land here in this pose, I just want you to think about the compression, where it's happening. Breathing 5 good breaths. Engaging through the abdominals, finding that twist for the body. and then we'll slowly come back, right? So we had that contraction, now we have the release. So think about the lymphatic system now flushing through the body. Let's release, let's inhale all the way up, and exhale. Let's release it down. Bringing your hands to the block. Let's go to the other side. Let's bring that knee back and then stepping the opposite foot forward. So stepping the opposite foot forward, finding this low lunge, engaging through the tummy, lengthening through the crown of your head, inhaling all the way up, exhaling hands to heart. Inhale, and as we exhale, finding the twist, slowly bringing that elbow to the outside of the knee or thigh, pressing the palms together, taking your gaze up, drawing the navel in toward the spine, taking 5 breaths here. 5 steady breaths, try to relax the face. Feel the breath flowing easily and fluidly through the body. Final breath here. And we're going to slowly come back. So let's come on back. Now, real quick, I just want to review a modification here. So if you were not able to twist deeply and bring that elbow outside of either thigh, you have the option here of extending the arms and opening the body forward, still finding a twist in the abdomen. So the twisting action is what we need for that pumping. So if you were not able to join me in that first version, you can go ahead and practice this version. You can pause the tape and come around and take 5 breaths in this version of the low lunge, still finding a twist. Now from here, we'll exhale the hands back to the blocks. Let's tuck the toes that are behind us, lift that knee, and we're going to step forward. So both feet coming together. Keep a bend in the knees. We're going to move into a chair pose. So we will move into chair pose. It'll be a revolved chair pose. So again, we're working on that twisting action of the body. So sending a weight down in toward your heels, deep bend into the knees, start to lift the heart, lift the arms, sit back into your seat, engage your belly, bringing the arms up. So just take a moment to find your chair pose. Then you'll bring your hands together, bring hands to heart. Take a nice deep breath in, and I'll start out by coming to the left side. So similar to that lunge, we're going to hook that elbow out and around. Good, the modification here would be bringing yourself into that chair pose. Go ahead and bring that right hand to the outside of the left knee and reach up. So we're still twisting. It's just the degree of twist is a little different, a little less intense. So see what version of this twist works for you and take 5 breaths there. Soften through your face. Excellent. We're going to come back into center. Take a moment to inhale, come all the way up, give those legs a break, take your gaze up, and exhale. Drop your chin into the chest. Come back into center. We'll move to the other side. Now remembering you can use either version, either the full twisted version with hands together, or bringing that hand to the opposite knee and opening up. So let's come into our chair pose. Good, let's bring those hands together to heart. Unless you're modifying, left hand will come to the right knee and you'll open up that right arm. The rest of us will squeeze down into the hands, draw back the navel, get a nice twist. Taking one more breath. And slowly, we're going to come back into center and inhale it all the way up and exhale. Inhaling up and exhale, heart, center. Great. Now I'm going to turn myself to the front or the long edge of my mat, and I'm going to bring over one block. Now, if you don't have a block, you can use a couple of books or something like that that can bring the earth up a bit. We're going to work into eagle pose. So in eagle pose, there's actually compression into the nodes that are in the groin area, as well as the nodes that are located in the armpits as well, and those that are located in the abdomen. So let's start with bringing that block off to the right side of your foot. Feet will be hip distance apart. We're going to roll the shoulders up, back, and down, and just take a moment to relax. So we're going to find our mountain pose. Good, crown of head lifts, legs are strong. So the block is located on the right side. That's going to be our standing leg. So let's bring our hands onto our hips for a moment and just start to shift your weight to the right, find a bend in the left, and place the left toes right there on the block. So finding your balance here. We're going to start working the arms, inhaling, bringing the arms forward. Good. So be nice and tall here. Engage your abdominals. As we go down, we're going to think about bending the, engaging the inner thighs, the backs of the knees, and we're going to find a nice little twist for the arms where we're going to compress the nodes under the armpits here. So take a nice deep breath. As you exhale, start to bend that standing leg. So sitting in for just a moment, bringing the right arm across the left, find a bend here. Wrapping the fingertips into the palms. Inhale those elbows up toward the front of your nose. So keeping those toes set down on that block for modification, start to squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the back of the knees, squeezing the arms together. Taking a breath now, and as we exhale, folding and finding compression in the abdomen as we slowly bring those elbows down toward the knees. So you'll take 5 breaths here. Try to find ease in the face. Relax. Two more nice, easy breaths flowing in and out. Gentle breathing. Steady breathing. Slowly we'll start to release on out, lifting the upper body up first. Elbows come to the front of the nose. Start to release those arms. Extend up through the legs, releasing out and come to standing. So you can just march that out. Breathing. Good, nice deep breaths. And we'll have to use the block now on the other side. So we're going to move the block on over. Of course, unless you don't need a block and you're a little more advanced, then you can go ahead and take that eagle pose without the prop. That's fine too. So let's bring those feet apart from one another under the hips. We're going to bring our hands to our hips. So just find your mountain pose. Relax the shoulders down and back. Take a nice deep breath. Good, activating your left leg. Draw the knee up, get strong in that left leg. Start to bend in the right knee and finding that block that you set off to the side. Good. Now you'll take a breath as you exhale. Start to bend in the knees and release the arms forward. Good, shoulders are nice and relaxed. Tummy is toned here. Inner thighs are squeezing together. Backs of knees are squeezing together. Right arm starts to come up over left. Let's interlace those arms. Maybe the fingers come in toward the palms. Inhaling up, finding the elbows to come up toward the nose area here. Take a moment to find this. Nice gentle breaths. Now we'll take a breath in and start to compress through the belly. Keep squeezing through the legs. Taking your gaze right there toward the forearms. Squeezing, opening up the back, squeezing through the upper arms. Compressing into the nodes under the armpits. Let's take 2 more breaths. And slowly we're going to release out. So let's come on up. Lift those elbows in front of the nose. Start to release the arms, straighten the legs. Maybe you look up, take a nice inhale. And as we exhale, releasing the leg and come back into a standing position. Let's take another big cleansing breath. And release it out. Great. Bringing your head back into neutral position, we're going to move into triangle pose. So we're going to take a triangle pose and then revolve our triangle pose to again find that compression. So bringing a block over to the left side of your mat. We're going to take a wide stance. Actually bringing that block to be behind your heel here, taking a wide stance, wider than your hips, bringing the hands to your hips, and then finding a rotation of the left foot. Right toes face the long edge of your mat. Let's inhale and bring those arms open to the side. As we exhale, let's take ourselves forward and begin to look down, finding that tall block that you set out here. So we're not really focused so much today on going your deepest version of any pose that we're practicing today. More so, it's understanding how this is assisting us in moving lymph fluid in the body. So just working here to consider the compression here on the left groin area, as well as expanding to the front of the body, the chest, the thymus, the glands that are located in the armpits. So this is more expansion rather than compression. Taking your gaze up, remember we have those nodes at the neck. So we're breathing for 2 more breaths. And now we're slowly going to encourage the right hand to come down, squaring the body, and we're revolving. So bringing that right hand to the block that is standing. Upon exhale, bring the left hand to your hip, rotating the upper body. So you can take 5 breaths here. Some of us might be able to move a little more deeply, bringing that left arm up and over. Taking 5 breaths in all, wherever you are. And we're going to slowly release. So coming out of it, inhaling the arm up, firming through your feet, and let's come up into neutral. Hands come to waist, and turning the left set of toes forward. Now you can reach for that same block and bring it around to the other side. So the block would be slightly off of your heel, but behind the foot. Let's begin to rotate now the right foot. Let's keep the left toes forward, hips are forward, chest is forward, rolling the shoulders back and down. Let's inhale. As we exhale, reaching forward. Exhale, finding your block. Adjusting the block, opening the heart, reaching up. So gaze can be forward, you can look up gently. 5 steady breaths. Softening through your face. And we're going to start to revolve here. So we'll start to bring the left hand down, squaring the chest off, and bringing the left hand now onto your block. Inhaling right hand to hip, rotating the upper body here. If you're able to go a little further or deeper, you can extend that arm, keeping your gaze up toward the sky. For 3 more breaths. And we'll start to come out of it. You can bring your hands onto your hips first, rotating the chest forward, taking that right hand back down, inhaling the left one up. And as we exhale, we come back up. Good, hands come on the hips. Let's turn those toes forward and step on in towards center of the mat. Let's take a nice inhale. And exhale, release. Great. We're going to move into down dog. Now you can use a block as well to make this more of a relaxed downward facing dog. If you don't need the block or choose not to use the block, that's perfectly fine too. So let's come on to our hands and knees. Let's come on to our hands and knees, and let's bring the hands down onto the mat, spreading the fingers wide, finding an external rotation in the upper arms, tucking your toes, inhaling the knees up and stepping back. Take a moment to push back into your heels, extend the hands. And so then you'll notice where that block needs to be positioned. You'll take a moment to find the proper position if you're using that as a supported downward facing dog. And you're drawing the belly up, and we're taking 5 nice long breaths. So again, in this downward facing dog, we have compression in through the nodes that are in the groin area. We're finding extension through the nodes that are in the underarms. And also, by being inverted this way, we are encouraging movement of fluid from just the position of being upside down, circulation to be moving toward the head, the armpits. So the nodes of the neck and the underarms. Taking one more breath. And then you can go ahead and bring those knees back down. So let's bring the knees back down. You can untuck the toes for a moment, and we'll set that block off to the side. We're going to come down onto our bellies now. So we're going to go into a Sphinx pose. So bringing ourselves all the way down to the mat. So here again in our Sphinx pose, we're finding compression. So the weight of the body into the groin area. So taking a moment to find a little rocking through your hips so that you can feel your pubic bone. Legs are resting on the ground. Tops of feet are on the ground. Hands and forearms start to come forward. So continue to rock through your hips until you find your pubic bone and your hips. Good, so finding that little triangular shape here and bringing those elbows under your shoulders. So remember that thymus gland and where it lives there right in the center top of chest. So think of the thymus gland moving forward, expanding forward, and a little squeeze under the armpits as we come into the Sphinx pose. So forearms come down onto the mat, hands are spread wide, using that action of drawing the forearms, elbows and hands back toward the ribs, extending the front of the chest forward, so feel that thymus gland projecting forward, squeezing through the underarms, active through the legs, feeling the groin compressing down toward the ground, taking your gaze a bit forward toward the front of your mat, extending through the crown of the head, taking 3 more breaths. Great job. So slowly now we're going to begin to bring ourselves up. So let's bring those hands off to the side. Let's come back into tabletop. We're going to walk ourselves onto our bums here. So let's come onto the bums. And we're going to go into Lord of the Fishes. So Lord of the Fishes is a deep twist. So we'll start with the right leg coming down. Now there are 2 options here. You can be tucking the right leg all the way back. Both of your hips and sitting bones should be rooted, and that left leg will come on in, sitting up nice and tall. Now, if you find that this is not a position that is comfortable for you, you can extend that right leg forward. So that might assist you in dropping your sitting bones and your tailbone here. So sitting up nice and tall. Take a nice breath in. And as you exhale, bring that right hand behind you, bring the left arm up. As we take another breath, we're going to rotate, hooking that elbow to the outside and circling out. So this is an open Lord of the Fish. Now, there's a compressed version as well. So if you find that you're full in the abdomen and you're not able to take the closed twist, that was our open twist. So we'll go to the other side here, sitting up. We're going a little more deeply to really kind of bring that pumping action into the abdominal region, into the groin area. So sitting nice and tall, bringing the left hand back, inhaling the right one up, and slowly coming around. Using the back of the arm and outside of the knee to really feel that twist, that compression in the groin, the compression in the abdomen. Taking your twist around. Keeping a nice deep connection with your left foot into the ground. One more breath. And we'll slowly come out of it. So let's come on out of it. You can extend the legs, take a moment to shake it out. Also a big hip stretch there, but our focus is not so much on where we're stretching today, but more so how we're moving our lymph. So let's move to the opposite side. Let's bring the left leg now underneath us and right leg comes up and over. So sit nice and tall. Again, you can extend the left leg here. So I'm going to go for a little deeper twist, bringing that right foot down. We're going to go for the open version first. So left hand comes forward, behind you. Let's extend the right arm, hooking it in, and slowly rotating out. So again, if you're fuller in the abdomen, you might even be expecting and maybe have a baby bump that you're trying to protect. You're going to rotate externally here. Good. And so we'll come back. Those of us that can move more deeply without an issue, we're going to bring the right hand back behind us. Let's inhale all the way up. And as we exhale, taking that rotation, relax your shoulders, grow tall through the crown of the head. Really bring in some compression into the abdomen, into the groin. Opening and expanding through the chest, the thymus gland. Maybe rotating the head back, bringing some compression into the nose and the neck. Taking 2 more breaths. And we're going to slowly come out of it. So let's come on out. Great. So let's unravel those legs for a moment. Let's take them on out. Let's give ourselves a little bit of a shake through the legs. So now bringing your block along, we're going to take our feet to the short edge of the mat. I'm going to come into bridge pose. So we're going to use the block today as a means of modifying the bridge pose. Unless you prefer to go without the block, of course you can go ahead and do that. So I'd suggest that the block comes somewhere around your hip area so that you can reach for it. Nice bend in the knees. Let's make our way down. So we'll slowly come on down, resting the back of the head, finding length through the back of your neck, walking your feet in toward your hips. Finding your block off to the side. Knees are hip distance apart. You can extend either arm straight down, the one that's not using, that you're not grabbing the block for. Take a breath in, press through your feet, and let's start to lift the hips. So you can use the block at any level here. So this would be the second level. Maybe some of us can go a little deeper, lifting and maybe using the block at its highest height. Reaching the arms down, tucking the shoulders in behind. You can even hold on to the edge of your mat. And just take a moment here to think about what areas we are extending. So we're broadening through the chest. We're really allowing for this thymus gland to become stimulated as we bring the chest forward. We are extending through the groin. Some of us might even lift a little further up over that block, really extending through the groin. Taking 5 breaths here. The nodes in the neck as well, with a small compression of the chin in toward the chest. So taking 3 more breaths. Resting down on your block or going higher. Allow for your breaths to be easy and gentle. Final breath here. If you're using the block, lift your body slightly, pressing through the feet, releasing that block off to the side, slowly allowing for yourself to descend, roll your shoulders out, finding each vertebra to come down onto the mat. And let's bring our knees into the chest. So even here in Apanasana, we are bringing compression into the groin. So often we take this pose as a resting pose. But in fact, it's still moving lymph fluid. So just finding a little bit of a rock here. And we're going to transition right into happy baby pose here. So let's bring the knees a little wider. Just feel the compression here. We'll bring the feet up. So now we're allowing for gravity to help us as well. With gravity taking all of the fluids and circulation and bringing it down the legs, maybe reaching up toward your ankles. Take a moment to find weight through your arms. Allow for your knees to come off the side a bit more. Take a gentle little turn out of the neck if you're feeling any tension. Bringing the head back into a neutral position. And deep breath in and out. And again, we can go deeper here. We can catch the big toe. We can bring a grasp to the outside of the foot. Some of us will go ahead and grab our heels, pulling down a bit, pushing up a bit, finding a little more compression into the groin. But just being in this position and allowing for gravity to go ahead and take those fluids from the feet and draining them down toward the nodes. Take one more breath. And then we'll slowly release. So we're going ahead and release. We're going to bring those knees back into the chest. So just take a moment to rock again, breathe. And for our next pose, we're going to roll up or bring your body off to the side to come up to a seated position because we're going to be using both blocks and a blanket. So if you don't have those props near you, you can just use a single blanket as well. But since I have blocks, we're going ahead and set those blocks up. We're going to move into fish pose, so Matsyasana. So if you do have blocks, you're going to take blocks and take them to their longest position here. And then you'll go ahead and take a blanket and put it over top of the blocks. Now, if I didn't have blocks, I might just roll my blanket so that it would be a roll or a substantial, what would look like maybe a bolster. So depending on the size of your blanket, this roll will be larger or smaller. The larger the roll, the bigger the expansion would be through the chest. So again, just adjusting, you might find that you do have blocks and you do have a blanket, but when you set it up, it might be a little too severe for you. So just making sure the blocks stay together underneath your blanket, placing the blanket up over top, simply for padding, a little more comfortable. And then we're going to find the edge of our block, and we're going to go ahead and bring the low back right to the edge of that block. Now, if you have a bolster, obviously it would be the edge of your bolster. So we're going to slowly bring ourselves down, releasing yourself down onto the blocks, allowing for your hips to be heavy, tailbone to be heavy. So you notice here, so this is a fully supported fish pose through the head, meaning that you're still feeling the block supporting your head, and the head is not turned all the way down toward the floor. We're going to bring the arms down the side of the body. You can even roll through the glutes and tuck your hands underneath. Feel the elbows kind of scooting down toward the mat, and then extending your legs. Extending your legs, taking the toes up, really feeling a nice big breath in through the chest, expanding out. Taking 5 breaths. Now I'll show you a variation where the head would be a little more turned down. So where we set out 2 blocks, we can go ahead and remove 1 block and maybe push that block up just a little bit further, keeping the bum where it is, slowly coming back down on it, allowing for the top of the head to come down. So finding a little more opening into the chest, the thymus gland. Again, you can choose to tuck your hands under your seat, drawing the elbows beneath you, extending the legs, and maybe even pushing in a bit toward your elbows and forearms, feeling a nice lift for the chest. And still feeling supported through the block and the blanket underneath you. So this would be the second level of modification. So the first one being fully supported, this one being partially supported through the chest. And then I'll show you the full version of the fish pose, coming back up and removing all of the props, blanket and blocks, and coming into the fish pose without any props. So coming all the way down, extending your legs. Now the legs are active here. Toes are up toward the sky, the legs are brought in together, so a little compression in terms of muscular compression here. And we start to slide those hands underneath the seat, start to take the elbows in toward your rib cage. Starting to lift through the sternum, think of that thymus gland lifting, shoulders down into the back, lifting through the chest, taking 5 breaths in whatever position you chose to be in for this fish pose. So I'm just going to take one more breath here, since some of you may have been in the fish pose the whole while I was showing the other options. Let's begin to come out of it. Take a moment to just bring your legs wide, removing your props if you're on props, and then just rolling your head here from side to side. Just take a nice couple of breaths on either side or both sides. Just release your neck, especially those of you that might have been in the fuller version here. Take a moment to just roll the head from side to side. And now our final pose is legs up the wall. So I'm going to show you the legs up the wall without using the wall, which does require a little more abdominal contraction. And then we'll go ahead and use, for my purposes, my furniture instead of a wall. So we will bring 1 block back here. We're going to bring ourselves all the way down. Keep your block so that it's at arm's distance, rolling down. Almost as if we were setting up into that bridge pose again. We're going ahead and grab for that block, press your feet down, and begin to lift your hips up. Let's bring that block under the sacrum, supporting the sacrum and the hips. Let's walk the feet together, placing the arms down. You can even find a little tuck for those shoulders here. So almost feeling like that fish pose again, but not quite, bringing those knees in. Keeping the knees up over the hips and extending the legs, bringing the tops of the feet toward the sky. Little activation here in the belly. Try your best to keep the ankles up over the hips, and we're going to take 5 breaths here. So if this is the legs up the wall that you've chosen to take, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to show you the second version, which would use, in my case, the furniture, in your case, perhaps a wall. Great, so I'm going to come down while some of you continue to take your 5 breaths in the supported version. So if you're using the wall, you don't have to use any blocks or any props, but I like to use a blanket. So you can bring a blanket to the wall, in my case, the furniture, and I'm going ahead and sit right in center, moving my other props. And what we're going to do is bring our feet up onto the wall, taking ourselves up, scooting yourself toward the wall, slowly bringing yourself down. Adjusting to the best of your ability, bringing the backs of the hips or your tush toward the wall, keeping the legs straight. Bottoms of the feet can be even to the sky. You can also bring a block or a weight, a sandbag up over your feet. It's quite relaxing. Let go of your spine. And again, here we're utilizing this idea of gravity, allowing for that lymphatic fluid to come down, eliminating any swelling that we might have, just relaxing. Arms can be off the side, maybe in a cactus position. Maybe you'll close your eyes. Again, we're going to take 5 breaths in whatever version of this legs up the wall you're choosing to take. Just take 2 or 3 more breaths to finish out the 5, or maybe you've decided to take 10 breaths here. And if you've decided to use the wall, you can walk your feet down the wall, turn yourself off to the side, and slowly bring yourself back into a seated position. So we're going to come back down onto our mats. You can bring that blanket underneath you if you wish. You can come into a nice Sukhasana position or a nice easy sitting position. And we're just going to take a couple of moments here to take some nice deep breaths, just work on a little bit of diaphragmatic breathing before we go into our Shavasana. So sitting nice and tall, find your sitting bones to relax, and lengthening through the spine, maybe closing your eyes. And let's take 10 nice full breaths, using the entire space of the lungs, beginning from the lower portion to the middle to the upper chest and then back down. So relaxing yourself, closing your eyes, and we'll be breathing in and out through the nose here. So inhaling. Exhale, release it down from the chest to the rib cage, down to your navel. Second breath in from the base of your belly. Rib cage, chest and throat. And release it down. And continue on for 8 more breaths. Maybe you're nearing your 9th or 10th breath here, so just take your time and complete. And then you'll slowly begin to blink your eyes open. Just kind of take a moment to even just get a sense of the energy. Maybe you can almost identify your system kind of kicking in. So just kind of feeling where the energy has shifted in your body. And from here, we're going to go right into Shavasana. So I'm going to encourage you to use your blanket as a means of supporting the backs of your knees. You can open up your blanket and create a roll for yourself, any size. You can also use your blocks as well. So for me, this roll is a little on the small side. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and take my blocks and bring my blocks lengthwise on my mat, meeting them right up top, and then go ahead and take that roll and bring it right up over top. And finding that roll to position under your knees, allowing for your feet to be a bit wider here, slowly bringing yourself down onto the mat. Once you arrive, you may need to adjust. I want you to really relax the backs of the knees and sort of splay them on out. Allow your toes to come off to the side. Lifting through the lower half of your body and just relaxing the flesh from the seat, adjusting through your spine. Taking a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, extending the arms off to the side. Closing your eyes. Big breath in, let it go. Adjusting, finding the back of your head, positioning your chin in a bit toward your chest so that we can find some nice length here for the neck, and just kind of tune in to the flow of energy through your body. Slowing the breath down, allowing yourself to relax here. As you relax your body, maybe you will be mentally calling in health and well-being. I am healthy. I am supporting my immune system. Setting those positive affirmations to support a balanced lifestyle with proper eating and proper hydration, the proper amount of exercise, allowing ourselves to minimize stress in our lives, whether we do that through meditation or breath work, bringing balance back into our nervous system, which assists our digestive system, helping us to eliminate toxins and foreign substances that can cause us illness. So I invite you to stay here in the Shavasana for as long as it feels comfortable for you. You can pause the tape and just stay and be. I'm going to make my way out of Shavasana and meet you here at the top of the mat. I hope that you learned a few things here about what we can do to help ourselves, especially in this particular challenging time where having a strong immune system is critical, and just doing our best to keep our safe distance and following through with all of the things that are being suggested for us to keep ourselves healthy and balanced. So I'd like to bring my hands to heart center, and maybe you'd like to join me here. Take a moment as we bow in gratitude for the wonderful practices that exist to assist us in staying healthy and well. I want to thank all of you for joining me today. And may we all stay healthy and well. Namaste. Bye for now.